You know that feeling when you first see an animal glowing in the dark? It honestly feels like nature just decided to break its own rules. I mean, we expect darkness to be, well, dark. We expect the night to hide things, not light them up. But then you see it. Maybe it's a fish in the deep sea, shining like a living lantern, a firefly blinking some secret message into the night, or a jellyfish drifting through black water like a piece of moonlight that just forgot to disappear. Welcome to This Explainer, where we're going to unpack one of the most absolutely mesmerizing phenomena in the entire natural world.
And suddenly, when you're looking at these creatures, the question just hits you. Why in the world do some animals glow in the dark? I mean, why would evolution invest so much precious energy to create creatures that build their own light entirely from scratch? Is it just to look beautiful? Or is it for survival, hunting, warning predators off, communication, or maybe something even stranger? Well, the answer to that is so much more fascinating than most people realize, because glowing in the dark, it is absolutely not just some magical trick of nature, and it's definitely not a biological accident. As we'll see throughout this explainer, it is actually highly practical, calculated biology. It's literally one of the most intelligent survival strategies life has ever invented to keep organisms alive in places where the normal rules of visibility are completely thrown out the window.
Act 1. The Mechanics of Glow.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really understand this mystery, we have to start with a pretty simple truth. Not all glowing is the same thing. When people talk about an animal glowing in the dark, what they usually mean is bioluminescence. This is true living light, produced by a chemical reaction happening entirely inside the creature's own body. Now that is very different from fluorescence, which happens when an organism basically just absorbs existing light, like ultraviolet light, and then re-emits it. Fluorescence animals aren't creating light from nothing, they're really just recycling it. So for our focus today, we are looking strictly at bioluminescence, that real, living light generated deep in the ocean, in dark forests, and in pitch-black caves. So how do they do it? The incredible chemical recipe making this living light possible basically comes down to a molecule called luciferin and an enzyme called luciferase. When these two get together and oxygen triggers the reaction, boom, energy is released as light. But here is the absolute game changer, the efficiency. Think about older human-made light bulbs. They get burning hot, right? They waste a ton of energy. This biological process, it doesn't waste much energy as heat at all. It's a cold, quiet light. Honestly, it feels supernatural exactly because it doesn't behave like a fire or a lamp. Nature figured out this incredibly efficient technology millions of years before humans ever made artificial light. And frankly, our human engineering is still trying to catch up to this level of perfection.
Act 2. Strategies in the Dark.
Now, the deepest, most dramatic place to find these glowing animals is for sure the ocean. As you go deeper and deeper, sunlight just vanishes into this black world of crushing pressure. And in that absolute blackness, light becomes valuable beyond imagination. Glowing isn't just for decoration down there. It's practically a Swiss Army knife for survival. We see it used across 5 major strategies: hunting, hiding, communication, warning, and defense. Each one uses a totally different method, turning basic chemistry into language, weapons, disguises, traps, and signals. Let's break these down.
First up, hunting. Picture this. You're in an environment with zero sunlight. Finding your next meal is going to be incredibly tough. Enter the anglerfish. This predator has an actual glowing lure dangling right in front of its mouth. It just hangs there, like a tiny, shining promise in the dark. Small fish see this little beacon. They swim over to check it out, and bam, they're swallowed whole before they even realize they've been tricked. The anglerfish's glow isn't an accident. Nature literally turned light into deadly bait. It's a hunting tool shaped like a little miracle.
And this brilliantly leads us to the exact opposite strategy: hiding. Now, I know what you're thinking. How on earth can shining a bright light help you hide in the dark? It sounds totally contradictory. But the answer is this mind-bending concept called counter-illumination. See, in the ocean, predators often swim down below, looking straight up to spot the dark silhouettes of their prey against the faint, dim light filtering down from the surface. To counter this, some deep-sea animals produce a precise glow on their undersides to match that faint surface light perfectly. Actually, they aren't glowing to show off. They're glowing to erase their own shadow. It is literally living camouflage perfected by light, letting them blend seamlessly right into the dim background above them. Now, if we move out of the deep sea and right into our own backyards, we see light being used for communication. Fireflies are the classic example here. Their light isn't just some random twinkling, it is a code, a highly specific pattern. Different firefly species flash in completely different ways to find each other, to synchronize what they're doing, and to make sure they find a mate.
A single blink can literally translate to, hey, I'm here, I'm ready, and I'm the exact right species. In a busy, noisy, nocturnal world full of sounds and smells, fireflies turn the night into this precise, flashing language of chemistry. They're like tiny, little signal towers in the dark, screaming out, "Can you see me?"
But of course, glowing is not always a friendly little invitation. Sometimes it's a stark, neon warning sign. In nature, bright colors often signal toxicity, right? Well, in the dark, a glowing body does the exact same job. Some animals glow to loudly announce, "Do not eat me, I am poisonous and you are going to regret it." If a predator learns the hard way that a glowing meal equals a really bad stomachache, it's going to avoid that glowing signal forever. Here, the animal is using extreme visibility instead of trying to hide. And it teaches us a cool biological lesson. Nature doesn't just stick to one playbook. Sometimes the best defense is to disappear, and sometimes it's to make sure absolutely everyone sees exactly how dangerous you are.
And speaking of defense, there is another astonishing way glowing saves lives, and that's through pure confusion. When they're threatened, some glowing organisms don't just shine, they release actual clouds of luminous material. We're talking glowing slime or glowing secretions blasted right into the water. This sudden, blinding flash distracts the predator or even temporarily blinds them. It can even light up the predator itself, which suddenly makes the hunter a very visible target for something even bigger. It is literally a smoke bomb made of light. In a world where being seen can equal instant death, changing the visual environment for just a split second buys precious time to escape. Life doesn't just create light, life weaponizes it.
Act 3. The evolutionary lesson.
So why are we humans so profoundly mesmerized by animals that glow? Well, part of it is definitely because it breaks our expectations. We expect light to come from stars or the sun or a light bulb, not from living tissue. But on a deeper, psychological level, we are drawn to it because in the darkness, a glow naturally signifies importance. Our eyes just instinctively snap right to it. Plus, it looks like intention. When a creature lights itself up, it feels deliberate, Our brains automatically interpret that light as a message or a signal. We see a living lantern and we just can't help but wonder what it's trying to say. That sense of wonder is exactly why these creatures constantly feel like they exist right on the boundary between hard science and ancient myth.
And the magic of bioluminescence isn't just limited to a couple of weird fish or a few bugs. We see it in deep-sea squid, jellyfish, fireflies, glowworms, forest fungi, microscopic bacteria, and even glowing surf plankton that light up crashing ocean waves like liquid stars. When a biological trait pops up across so many wildly different kingdoms and environments, it tells us something incredibly significant. Nature found a solution that was so good, it was worth repeating over and over again. Evolution doesn't just produce beauty for the sake of beauty, right? It produces whatever helps life continue. And the ability to glow has solved serious life-or-death survival problems again and again across the entire globe.
Because ultimately it comes down to this. Under pressure, life innovates. Animals glow because the dark creates immense, unrelenting pressure. The deep sea, dark caves, the dead of night, these are incredibly harsh places where just surviving is a daily struggle. Bioluminescence is pure evidence that evolution does not just sit around waiting for perfect circumstances. It responds to the brutal challenges of the dark by inventing its own completely new visual system using chemistry, structure, and behavior. And sometimes that biological engineering is so elegant it just looks exactly like magic.
What this explainer really illustrates is that life is never just passive. Life constantly interacts with its environment. It sends signals, it modifies its space, and it uses whatever raw materials it has lying around to survive. When the world goes pitch black, these organisms don't simply endure the darkness. They are fiercely resourceful. They take the severe disadvantage of being plunged into darkness and turn it into a massive strategic opportunity. They glow because, in the dark, a little bit of light can mean absolutely everything. So glowing animals are clearly far more than just a neat science story. They're a profound reminder that nature is vastly more inventive than we could ever expect, and that the world is absolutely full of hidden light and hidden brilliance. Even in the absolute dark, life does not surrender, it shines. So I want to hear from you. Which of these glowing creatures amazed you the most? Let me know down in the comments. And hey, be sure to like this explainer, share it with someone who loves the deep mysteries of nature, and subscribe for more mind-opening explanations, because the next question we tackle might just be even stranger than this one. Thanks so much for learning with me today.